morning, Jules fans, and welcome to another episode of the ME7 Breakfast Show with me, Matt. So, apologies for being off for the last couple of weeks. Stuff going on at home, you may have seen a tweet. So I just didn't really want to do a show, to be fair. But look, we're back. We're going to be going on strong. So obviously, always please get in your comments and questions. Look, I'm going to start this though first on obviously the news that we all heard of what happened yesterday at Priestfield Stadium. I don't want to go too much in depth. I don't think the guy that did it deserves any more light shed on him. He just needs to be forgotten and gone. But guys, come on. There are some of you here that will probably watch this that sometimes might step over the line. Okay, I understand sometimes we do stuff in the heat of the moment, but racism has no place in football. The ME7 guys, they all will, I'm sure, support the message of, you know, we need to kick racism out. It's been going on for years. And the best way we can kick it out is us as fans, is by us saying something. Ultimately, the guy yesterday was kicked out because us fans, we got up and we said something. We said it wasn't right. We said it needed to stop. The stewards acted. He's now got a lifetime ban, and we never have to see his face at Priestfield Stadium ever again, which is great. But we need to do it more often, because eventually we're going to get points deductions. We're going to get stadium bans. I'm not there. I don't do it. I don't want to get a stadium ban. I want to be able to go and watch my team on a Saturday at Priestfield Stadium, and I'm sure a lot of you guys there that watch this do too. So just stop it. Simple. Sorry to have a little rant at the start of the video, but look, this is obviously all about news. We're going to get onto the news a bit later on. We're going to get loads of comments and questions. If you haven't already heard it, please go and watch the. Please go and have a listen to the. My phone going off. The ME7 Rankcast. I think it should be aptly called, from last night. Hour and a half, I think it was. Really good though discussion. We're going to go through the comments from that a little bit later. Obviously I've been off for a few weeks, so we're going to do a player of the week, but we're going to do it a bit differently. We're going to almost do it as a player of the month. So again, please get voting in the comments below. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching. We'll speak to you in a minute. So, on to the news. Now, obviously, the big news I have just said. Obviously, Gillingham could be potentially facing a points deduction, a stadium ban, and another fine due to another incident that has gone on at the stadium. Obviously, last week as well, for those of you that don't know, I believe it was a vape or a battery or something like that was thrown at the Notts County goalkeeper. The referee reported the incident at the time. Yesterday there was an incident of racial abuse towards Omar Bogle. Again, the referee reported the incident at the time. So it looks like we are going to be getting a fine, say a points deduction, I reckon, or a stadium ban, something like that. Yeah, so obviously that's not great news, because now it's starting to make us Jules fans, give us Jules fans a bad name, and as I said, 95% of us are nothing like that. So, you know, I said at the start of the video, guys, please, if you see something, say something. There's numbers up there. I've got to say a massive shout out to Joe Comper. I'm not going to read the whole statement because again, you can find it, and please actually go out there and find Omar Bogle's statement, because I fully endorse everything that he has said as well. But look, yeah, the guy's been given a lifetime ban. If you see something, no, please, you know, I don't care if it's your best friend. I'm sorry, doesn't deserve to be in the stadium. So, you know, say something and kick them out. Obviously, the other big news going on at Gillingham at the moment is we have been without manager now for 3 weeks, and it does look like Keith Millen will be in charge potentially for the Hereford game unless an appointment is made soon. Brad and Shannon are back in the country. They have stated that they had whittled down to a few candidates. I think it was 3 or 4 candidates that we were going to be seeing last week. I'm guessing now it's decision time to decide who they want to go with. If it's potentially a manager, like Scott Lindsay, who is still in the job, obviously negotiations will have to be made with Crawley. If it's a free agent, you know, it might just be a case of trying to tie up loose ends, sort out backroom staff. Well, obviously, we don't know. But there is a high likelihood that the man in charge at the weekend will probably be Keith, even if we saw it appoint somebody before then. In terms of injuries, obviously the big news at the weekend was we saw Tim Dieng back on the bench, which I think is excellent news. I really do. Apologies. I really do like Tim Dieng. And I think we've kind of missed him in the middle of the park, so getting him back I think is brilliant. Obviously he didn't actually come on and play yesterday, and to be fair, the game was kind of dead in the second half, so there was no need to. So yeah, rest him, give him some minutes against Hereford next week, and hopefully he'll be back for the Wrexham game. Again, actually good news for us Jules fans, especially with the way we're playing at the moment, but Paul Mullin will be suspended for Wrexham because he has picked up his 5th yellow card, so he won't be playing against us in 2 weeks' time. So yes, so that's kind of a bit of good news. In terms of other of his injuries, Ollie Hawkins, Keith Millen did come out and say that he's getting close. Look, he hasn't given a time frame as such, but he is getting close, and there is a possibility that again he could be back sooner rather than later. And again, I've said it before in the pods, I've said it 100 million times, I think we need to have 2 up front, and I think if we can get a fully fit Ollie Hawkins and a fully fit Mudka Hollybon playing up top together, I think we could go and smash it, and I think we'd do really well. Or even sort of say Ollie Hawkins and Tom Nichols, or Ollie Hawkins and Ashley Allison, any kind of those combinations. But if you're going to have a player target man and you're going to play it with Ollie Hawkins, I think we'd do really well. That's it in terms of news. We're going to get onto your comments and questions in a minute, and then we're going to do your player of the week. So, onto your comments, and there are quite a few. I will try and get through them as quickly as possible, but honestly guys, Owen and Reese last night, obviously we discussed a big length, sort of the issue that went on the ground yesterday, and what's going to happen to the club. So please, I implore you guys, if you haven't, go and have a listen, because yeah, we get into it. But some of the comments, and I might explain a little bit of maybe context of if I need to. So first one, Alex Pooley, Matt Olsen. Unfortunately, me and Reese look nothing alike, and mine was checked. So Reese does mention in the pod that as he was walking up to his seat in the Rain and Mend, I believe he sits in block 3, I think he said it was, she had stopped him, asked him, can I please see where you're sitting? Absolutely fine. Reese showed him his card, moved on, and then a guy, I think it was Reese's friend, was behind him coming up the stairs, didn't get his checked, and then somebody else didn't get theirs checked, and then somebody else didn't get theirs checked. I did suggest it might have been because they were looking for somebody who might have looked similar to Reese, and they were just trying to gauge where that person was. Whatever it was, if they're starting to check tickets when you're actually in the ground as well, for that, obviously if we're going to be able to cut stuff out, that would be brilliant. Alex also then did mention the fan who sits next to him in block 4 at the very top. He literally went there to the bloke before the stewards or police reacted. This was, I think, the point. I don't know if you guys, if you were in the area, you may have seen it. If you don't know, ultimately it was the fans who had to tell the stewards what this guy had done for him to then be kicked out, even though it was kind of right under the steward's nose. But look, I'm not going to get onto that. I just feel that stewards might need slightly extra training. That's all that is. Jules, stats and facts. Should the club look to restrict the volume of space available at the front of the Rainham end in order to deter from fans leaving their seats and running to the front to shout abuse? I kind of get where you would be coming from, but actually I think at the same time the best way of doing it is by trying to man it. Now look, one of the worst things about being a steward is it's a part-time job. You work 3, maybe 4 hours, you're probably paid minimum wage. You know, what else are you going to be doing in the week? You know, you're only going to work 20 odd weekends a year. It's not the most glamorous of jobs, and I'll be honest, maybe most stewards' hearts aren't really in it, but I do think that, more stewarding would actually probably deter that better. If we have to go down the route of even getting more policing, or even, getting is it SIA security guards, whatever it is, if we have to pay extra, then so be it. I would rather pay an extra few quid on my season ticket each year to make sure that I feel safe and the players aren't being racially abused or having stuff thrown at them, and that they're safe. I would rather that, pay an extra few quid just so that we were manned a bit more. Anyway, Jules, Stats and Facts, thank you for that. James Bush, I agree with Reese. None of the candidates are appealing to me either. The players we have brought in are experienced players that have played at a high level. We need a manager who has similar levels and experiences to get them all on side. Again, this down to who we were talking about manager-wise. Again, I actually kind of agree. I agreed with Reese last night. There's... of the list of available candidates, and I'm going to say available candidates here, nobody is jumping off the page at this moment in time. Look, you guys may disagree, you may be screaming out for, I know there is Stuart Lewis, not that one, he really wants Steve Bruce, but I wouldn't want Steve Bruce personally. I would want Clements, his assistant, to come in as maybe as manager, personally. I understand Steve Bruce comes with a kind of caveat, he is a very well-known manager, and this could be his last swan song, trying to get the Gills out of League Two, but I just don't see it fitting. Sorry. In fact, the next comment was that of Stuart Lewis saying, appoint Steve Bruce tomorrow morning. So, Blue Brazil, spot on. Rudderless shit. Fans have been patient enough. Situation needs resolving this week, and fans deserve some kind of explanation as why we let Neil go and which individuals were involved in the decision making and the reasoning. Blue Brazil, just to go, I don't know if you know, there was a little interview with Neil Harris done last week. Might give you a bit of information, or you might take it with a pinch of salt. That's entirely up to you. Look, there have been conflicting rumours and all that, and yes, look, it would be nice for Brad to come out and say the reason why I decided to let Neil go, because ultimately it is his club and that's what we want to hear, is X, Y and Z. Whatever. We don't want to be hearing that, it was X, Y or Z. We want to hear it that it was Brad. It was Brad's decision. It is his club. He owns it at the end of the day. We want to know that he is making the decisions and it's not other people around him convincing him that this is the right decision, because I've said it once, I'll say it again, Neil Harris teams always come strong in the second half of the season. Why didn't we give him at least until Christmas to see if we were there or thereabouts, in sort of touching at least playoffs? Because I think if we were, we'd be promoted come May. Without him, at the moment, we look leaderless, we look directionless. It's no fault of Keith's, but yes, stuff needs to change ASAP, and hopefully this week something will happen. So yeah, Blue, thank you for sending in your comment. Al Thompson, sorry. We used to be a family club that ran down generations. Yep, absolutely. Now we have thugs, bigots and drunken fools. The feel-good factor has gone completely, and it's sad, angry environment now. When I eventually have children, I would not want to be taking them to Priestfield, and that's heartbreaking. I currently myself do not have children, but I will say, Al, I 100% agree with you. Even my friend I sit next to, as we were leaving, he said, look, he'd love to take his son to a Gills game, but he would not take him to the Rainer Men. And that's sad, because the Rainer Men used to be so fun, and yet I have a guy who sits 3 or 4 rows behind me, and all I hear literally for the whole 90 minutes is effing this and seeing that, and I don't want to be hearing that. I want to be there to watch my football team and enjoy the game. I would rather see the Gills lose 2-0, but he'd be able to enjoy the game because I don't have all that going on behind me. But it's never going to happen, isn't it? Because people like to have a drink, and I think ultimately this is the biggest problem, because yeah, I will go to a Priestfield and I will have a beer before the game. A beer. That's the argument, it's a beer. There's people that go to the pub bang on as soon as it opens at 12 o'clock. and then they're drinking right through till 2:30, trying to get as many pints down their neck as possible, and they walk in there drunk, and then they sit in effing this and effing that and effing that because they think it's funny and they think they are and they think they can take on the world. That's ultimately where it comes from. It is unfortunate, but until that gets banned, which it won't, what can we do? But Al, thank you for your comment anyway, buddy. Mike Cunningham, unfortunately we lack characters for any kind of promotion push right now. Also, no movement, no urgency, and up the ante. Very lethargic, and no one willing to grab a game like today by the scruff of the neck and drag us forward. Inconsistent mid-table team is how we look, and I think that's generous. I look. There was no movement up front. We did look leaderless. Yeah, I think actually we look like a team that are actually going to be nearer the lower half of the table right now, even though when you look at the kind of players that we've got, again on paper, we should be right up there. So, yeah, I'm not going to, I don't want to badmouth the players at the moment because I said I think it literally is just down to the fact that we don't have a man at the helm. Somebody who is giving us our direction, giving us our way forward. But that will hopefully eventually come. Elliot Grunwell, I don't feel anything for the result. Yes, we didn't play great against a poor team. It happens. What I feel terrible about is the racist fan. I feel ashamed that this is part of the club. I know we can say every club has them, but we are in national headlines. It's embarrassing. Yeah. Go online, you'll see it all over the place. I said it gives us Jules fans a bad name, and I said I'm not like that. I know 95% of the people that sit in and around where I sit are not like that, but the idiot that was literally 10 yards away from me to my left that got up and did what he did, I'm sorry, it's unexcusable, and I said I'm just glad I will never see you at the football game again. Julian Inkpen, I sat on the end of row in block 4 with a steward stood there the whole game, and I did not see him check one ticket. Yeah, maybe it was just in that block, maybe that certain area. I said to Reese, maybe it was they were looking for a certain individual or a couple of individuals. That may have been what it was. But yeah, again, where I sit in block 5, I didn't get my ticket checked. I got it scanned as I walked in, and that was it. DT, not always about the beer, etc. I'd happily drink several beers at a game today. Not once did I think about racially abusing a player. I've lived in Nottingham for 15 years, and I'm afraid to say generally the tone, thoughts of people down this way, shocking and embarrassing. I've got to say, look, that's fine. Have as many beers as you want. If you feel that you are not going to be, that kind of person, absolutely great. The problem is, like you said, maybe down this way, maybe in the south, we find it a bit more acceptable. I don't want to say that word, but when you've had a few beers, then that's why you're willing to do it. But again, I'm not that person. I had a few beers last night. You might be able to tell when you listen to the pod. Did I racially abuse anyone? No. Did I think about it? No. But that's me. But there are people out there, that are willing to do it. And I don't get why. I don't see it being any kind of, sort of importance. But look, what can we do? Hey, I said we're probably going to get a points deduction, and if we lose out by going up by 1 point and we've had a points deduction, that fan becomes public enemy number 1 toward Jules fans. So anyway, DC, thank you for that question. That comment yesterday. Ash Neal, feel for Alexander, poor today and Tuesday. Hopefully he will be back to his best for next week. Also feel for Bon. He does everything right, but finish. We need Ash back and stick him up, and Tom Nichols up top with Bon behind them. Look, I would like that. I'd like to see Nichols, Bon and Nadesan on the pitch all at the same time, but actually I think it's never going to happen because you're going to want at least one of them to be on the bench to bring on just in case something happens. But I mean, you imagine that as a lineup going forward, that would be amazing. I mean, again, no offence to Tom Nichols, but if you were to drop Tom Nichols and bring in Ollie Hawkins, have Ollie Hawkins as your target man with Bon and Nadesan playing off either side, again, look how amazing is that. And again, you could even drop Nadesan or drop Bon and bring Nichols in, and there is a lot of potential depth in that squad. On Alexander, look, he had a poor game. He'll know he had a poor game. It's unfortunate, but again, two poor games isn't going to define his season. He will get better. He'll take more penalties, I'm sure, and he'll definitely put them in the back of the net, unlike the one at Swindon. But yeah, two poor games by Shea. He'll know it, and you know, to quote Ted Lasso, be a goldfish, Shea. Be a goldfish. Becca Martin, it's the worst I've seen the fan base in years. The years we won the league, I don't remember us having any issue with things like this. We literally have black players. How are they feeling this evening? Becca, totally, absolutely agree with you 100%. I said, you know, how's Shea going to be feeling? Maybe that's kind of why Shea was a little bit put off in the second half. You know, there was a couple of misplaced passes. Maybe that's what he was thinking about. Because look, the players are going to know straight away as soon as it happens. So, Julian again, totally agree, Owen. We should never have put ourselves in this position. Harris was doing a good job. Yeah, I think we've all said this before. You know, if they had somebody lined up, you know, had it been sort of a week, 10 days, and we'd had a manager in, we'd be going, yep, absolutely fine, no problem. But it's been like 3 weeks, and you know, the ship is slowly sinking. We have a slight leak at the moment. It needs to be plugged. We need our captain and our manager at the helm and ASAP. So please get on it, Brad. Smitty, great listen again this evening, guys. Thank you very much, Smitty. Again, Scott Lindsay is not what we need. We need a winner, and that is not him. Winning games, ugly or pretty, it doesn't matter as long as we win. We have more possession most games since Harris has gone, and we've been shipping goals. I don't know the answer, but no, Lindsay isn't. Look, for me, if Lindsay was signed, say, a couple of weeks ago, I would have been quite happy, but I would be underwhelmed if he was to sign now. But it's no offence to him, I just feel that it's taking too long, and right now we need that kind of marquee manager. I feel if the fact it's been this long, that's what I feel we need. But yeah, again, thank you for sending in your comment, Al. Stuart Bourne, poor performance, both of the players and the fans. We should be better than this. We need firm leadership on the pitch to get the players working, and firm leadership by Brad Gallinson to remove these kind of fans. The fact he was removed within about 5 minutes of it happening, and he was walked out by police, which was great, amazing. The one thing I will say, Gills fans, you did yourself no justice by then trying to chase him down the tunnel whilst he was being escorted out by police. You all know who you are. But look, he was gout, he's a lifetime ban, and said we never ever have to see his face again. Al Thomas again, Ainsworth would be ideal for the team. Ainsworth, yes, he was sacked by QPR last night, but would he ever come to Gills? I doubt it very much. If anything, he'll probably go back to Wickham. It kind of seems to have a bit of a love affair going there. Keelan, thoughts on the performances of Conor Masterson of late? Feel like he's one of the people who are slowly falling into the I'm not going to give 100% until there's a manager for me to impress category. That you discussed and doesn't seem to really be focused since Harris's sack. I kind of understand what you mean. I mean, look, again, when Harris was sacked, Conor Masterson did the first post-match, and you could tell he was just not happy. I think the players will probably feel that Harris's sacking was slightly unfair. How they were doing, they may also feel that they're slightly to blame, which I don't feel is correct for them. I think they're not to blame at all. But look, yeah, his performances haven't been great. They've not been the worst. I would say, yeah, he's probably maybe playing at 85%. But yeah, he might not be given 100% until we know who the new man in charge is. So, yeah, let's wait to see what happens. We've got a few more comments we're going to quickly get through. So, Mark Morgan, completely agree with everything Max said. That was my little rant that I had yesterday. So, please have a look and tell me what you think. Pennock is managing in Singapore Premier League. He's top of the league. Yeah, no thanks. Fred, that was Fred Perry. Brad, I had an old boy sat next to me at the Swindon Swindon away shout, fuck off back home, to the Sikh stewards. It's absolute shambles and needs to be stopped. So Brad, what I would have said is, if you had heard that, why did you not go and report it to the stewards? Why are you commenting on X? That's my only argument there. If you knew who he was, knew what he said, why did you not report it? That would be my only question there. Why doesn't Brad listen anymore? A miserable motoring racing fan said he did. He actually jumped on at the end of the pod. Shorts don't matter. Like that name, very good. Club lost of any idea or direction. The manager situation has gone on far too long. The fans need reassurance from the top that changes are afoot, and soon. Today's performance was woeful. It was woeful. Shea's only played 3 games since Neil left. 1-2 and lost today. Worst player, harsh Owen. I think, to be fair, that was probably me that said that, Chris. It's the amount that, I'm just saying, yesterday for me he was the worst player on the pitch. I just feel he had the worst game out of everyone. Everyone had a bad game, but he had the worst game. So I'm not digging Shea a hole. I love Shea. I've met him a few times. He's such a lovely bloke. I just think it wasn't his game yesterday. Craig GFC, it's the amount that they've had before due to having to rush before kickoff. I'm guessing that's to do with the alcohol. So we've got a miserable motor racing fan. Matt Olsen, you are right. The racist gestures are intolerable, but so is the effing and blinding at a player who has scored. Look, in terms of comments, that's pretty much the last one. I'm going to end the comments because, 20 minutes worth of comments, that's long. I'm going to end it on this. Look, really simply put, if we are going to give opposing players jip when they're up about to take a penalty, giving all the hand gestures, booing, whatever, trying to put them off, and they score, we have to accept that they are going to give us something back. The problem is, as Gills fans, we then want to go that extra bit more, don't we? But we need to stop. We need to stop doing that, because when we escalate it even more, what happened yesterday just will keep happening. But as I've said, it's not just about the people doing it, it's about us that don't do it, that when we see it, we say something. There is a telephone number, it's plastered all around the stadium, look out for it. Anything racist, sexist, homophobic, I don't care what it is, if it's not right and it's morally not right, do something about it. Guys, that was a bit of a rant. I'm going to get onto your player of the week, and I'll explain what we're doing for that. Look, thank you for sending in all your comments. Please keep listening, and I said definitely go back and listen to that show, because wow, it was something else. So, player of the week. Now, obviously, I've been away for a couple of weeks, so I'm actually going to do it kind of more as a player of the month for this month. So, actually, what I've done is I've looked at our last few games, and I've picked for me the 3 strongest performers out of those 3 games. Everything from obviously the Swindon game, the Newport game yesterday, the Notts game the other week. So our 3 players that we're going to have for player of the week, we have got Scott Malone, we have Conor Mahoney, and we have the one who, I'll be honest, was getting my vote after a magnificent save the other night, is Jake Turner. Guys, that's the end of the breakfast show for this week. It's been a bit of a long one, been emotional. Thank you so much for watching if you've made it through to this point. There will be a breakfast show next week. Again, as always though, guys, up the Gills.